I'm Riley Harvey for VCN, and this is the Thursday night PRT Handicap race. Tonight we are attacking the Canary Wharf Real Road. It's one of the real roads on RGT, so it has the full scenery, not like the Magic Roads, which just have a little bit of dotted trees, fences, etc. It's got the full hit around it. A lot more attractive to look at, and when you're riding, it'll be a bit more interesting to ride. Really great course. The Canary Wharf course is quite simple, fairly flat course, not very much elevation on this one at all. 4 corners, just bomb it round. What becomes interesting with this course is the way that the corners are used. Auto braking hits in virtually every single corner on this race. The weight differential from the stronger riders, the elite riders who are carrying the heavier handicaps, they'll find it harder to change the tempo as they're going through these corners. The auto braking hitting in very hard. Lighter riders should find that easier. There's a little bit of different dynamic to the usual handicap races that go on where it is all sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And there has been some change into the drafting features on GT as well, so if you do get laps, you don't get advantage pull away from your other people in your group and to join with the last group that's lapping you. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out and to see who is going to be in the race. We're going to head over to the track. Look around. Looking at the sponsored banners now in the courses, which is nice to see. Makes the course look again, it lifts it again, makes it look a bit more interesting. Having a brief chat about who was favourite for the race tonight. Got Ben Lowe, Will Usher on the front of the start grid there. It'll be interesting to see how those guys go off the front. Got Will Deegan a little bit further back, who's just been mentioning he's had a visit to the osteopath, had his body straightened out. His back wasn't so great last week, so we'll be seeing how he's recovered. I know I'm feeling a little bit grim myself, been laying flooring all day, so the back's not being very kind to me. I think Steve Shrupsall's in the group today, so we'll have a quick look through who's down on the track. Got Ray Rusher there, Matt Barker, Darren Ray, Muzz, Andrew Tickham. See how big the pack is, the field is there actually. It's only 4 wide on Canary Wharf, so at the start line I think there's 100 meters worth of track where you can ride through each other. It's good to see Barry Wilson back there. Got Sam Newlands in there as well. Stuart Ludlow a bit further back on the course. Bartle multiple times in the event. We're going in 4 seconds. We're kicking off and we are underway as Ben takes the lead in the race. Will Deegan, my apologies, running off the front there with Ben Lowe on his wheel. Darren Ray's up there at the front as well. Will Usher just allowed a gap to open up a little bit back to Will there. Matt Barker runs through and over the top. Chris Bancross in the orange. That's Darren Ray running off the front again. Goodbeek, Bancross, Vivek. And that's Darren Ray coming up there on the outside. we've got a split now back to a second group on the road. And Lowe's in this mix, Will Usher. Andre Fugada there. Andre was missing from last week's race. This is really the only little bit of elevation on the course, a little bit of a dip there. Darren powers back to the front again. We've got drop back through the course. Got Mero there. Pedro, Usher, Oxazaglu, Vivek, Bankras, Brookhuizen, Titcombe, Noors, De Svert, Muz. Ursula's managed to grab onto the back of this lead group. That's good positioning for her. Laser. And dropping back into this second group now, we've got Alex in the middle bit there. Second group's managed to bring themselves back in. We see Steve Shrubsall there as well. Ujit. Bjorn Mai. Alkius. Steve Shrubsall just trying to jump across. Steve's not been on too many handicap races just recently. Raya there, Williamson, Jones. Back of this group, Wittich, Franta, Ellis, John, Jonathan Wales, Colnut, Archard, Harry Wilson, forward a little bit, no man's land there. And Sam Newlands behind him. Lemmy, Allison, Bartle, Butler, Rick behind him. Kelly. Hannock. Gale. For the band we've got Benson. Fly back up to the front, see how that's progressing. Stuart Ludlow still at the front there, with May behind him. Still got a big group here. Darren Ray still pushing off the front. Into those corners. If you're looking at the power in the top left hand corner, you'll be able to see actually running around those corners. I didn't see auto braking activated. Take a bit more of a view on this. Dan's dropped out. Dan's been unable to get above 200 watts. His gearing's not working. Dropped out of the race, unfortunately. Alex, who was in that little bit of a gapped group before, is back near the front of the race. Conditions are changing very, very rapidly. He's dropped out now. Garda comes through. Alex yo-yoing slightly. Garda at the moment. Darren still pushing away on the front. and low, push towards the front there as well. Very rapidly changing. Steve Shrubsole was distanced slightly at the beginning of this race. He's up at the front now, third position. Doing some work with Will to increase his FTP, so this will be a course that suits him. Higher FTP and also a higher handicap. Will towards the front as well. Fake May. Got a beak there. 3 riders with a little gap on the rest of the group. May pushes. Up there, front pushing 6.4 watts per kilogram. Fake Gerdebeek giving chase. Back with the main group now. Bill Usher, Chris Bancroft, Will Deegan, all in the mix. Steve Shrubsole just dropping back slightly there. Not paying quite enough attention. 7 kilometers of this race nearly run. 14.1 remaining. It's going to be a fast race tonight. Aaron still running well up in second position. About to come through the back markers. Important as you're running through those back markers to make sure you apply power. The drafting algorithm in RGT does occasionally try and sit you in behind one of these riders. If you're not applying power as you're going through the back markers, you can find that you get stuck behind them. Bancroft. May just off the front there. A flat course like this, we shouldn't really be seeing anybody going much over 3.2 watts per kilogram for extended periods. Underneath the riders' names you can see power bars flashing. Those power bars reflect the amount above or below the FTP that the rider is riding at. So the darker blue, we won't see any of at the moment. The green is the tempo, which is around about 85 to 95% of the rider's FTP. Yellow is lactate threshold, which is around about 91 to 105% of the rider's FTP. Then we're seeing quite a lot of oranges and reds. The orange is above FTP, VO2 max. And red is anaerobic capacity, which is massively above. It's 120% of FTP to 150%. And then you see the riders go very bright red. Power bar goes very bright red. That's when they're in sprint, and that's neuromuscular efforts. Very short run. So you see Bankrus there putting in a good effort, trying to create some splits, bit of confusion. Nobody's gone with him. He's shut the power back down again. Darren Ray pushing on the front, bringing the pack up to Bankrus. Bankrus back on the power, and May goes up to his wheel. May goes through, rolls off the front. Bankrus absorbed back into the pack. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and all of your chat messages come through to one centralized hub. So if you have anything to say, any questions to ask, you want to focus in on any particular rider, shout and we'll try and make that come true. Bankrus at the back of the pack there. 11 kilometers left to go. The big front group here, 17 in the group. Coming up on another group in the road. Bankrus just distance for a moment there. Going to the red power to hook back onto the front of that group. Maybe Brookhus and the back as well. No Buffalo bikes in the race tonight. Been a number of riders who have been commenting about the Buffalo bikes. Juan Rodriguez is asking, can you explain this please? Take your FTP divided by 3.2 equals the weight in kilogram that you need to change your profile to for the race prior to entering the pen. So I usually explain on the intro, this is a weight handicapped race. So you have your FTP, your functional threshold power, from a recent event, and you'll take that FTP and divide it by 3.2, which will give you a number, and that number is your weight in kilograms that you'll enter on your profile for this race. And what that means is that riders who have got a higher FTP, the more elite riders, will weigh more for this race, and the riders who have got a lower FTP, the less able riders, perhaps they're older riders or younger riders who have their FTPs reduced, they'll have a lower weight. They may even shed some weight for this race, and that generally means that the riders are more on an even playing field. It's a normalized field, so it's much more difficult for the elite riders to get away and to win the race, and it makes it more challenging for the elite riders and makes it more achievable for the less able riders. So it makes the race work much better, much more competition across the whole field. But you do have to make that change to your weight before you enter the pen. If you enter the start pen and you're waiting, you have to go back out to make the change. You can't change it once you're in that pen, that start pen. It's no problem, Juan. It's I usually mention it in the intro, and I didn't tonight. So it's good that you asked that question, so everyone can get to grips with what this race is about. Normally on this race there is a lot more elevation, and the elevation helps to make the race work with the heavier riders getting really slowed down on the hills, and the lighter riders able to compete much better on those hills. You have to use the features of the course to give yourself the points where you can attack. So I'm just going to drop back through the field a little bit now and give everybody else on the course a little bit of airtime. Also see what other battles are going on throughout the course. You can see the groups diminish slightly. We've gone down to 14 in this front group now, with Pedro just dangling off the back of the group. Gerda Beaker's dropped further back. The Laser has just dropped off the back of the group there. Group there: Calcius, Nors, Mero, Jones, Titcomb, and I think Oxazoglu's in this group as well. Going to be some battles at the finish line now. Bartle in the group as well. Stuart Ludlow there, we just passed him briefly. Group. Allison. Now, big sprint there. Sutherland, Liedbricks, Alex. With Stuart Ludlow. Keep Ben Low there, we're passing now. Wittich in this group. Ellis. Their own. Coming up on Newlands, but they're lapping Newlands now. Archard. Colnut in the distance. I don't know whether they know that Colnut's on the same lap as they are or not. Like Colnut's going to get lapped as well. Got Ray Rusher, Ursula, John, and Jonathan Wales in this group as well. Hennock, Butler, being lapped by Titcomb there. Bartle, by a big group. Piscatelli just in front of him. Butler. Barry Wilson just battling to get onto that group. Barry is one of our older riders, regularly competes in this event, often rides with his grandson Ollie. Not seen Ollie for a few weeks though. Go a bit further back. Tranter. Barry there. Baharunas, Newlands, I think Newlands is just riding with a lapped rider there. Colnett, Jonathan Wells there just moving forward. Jonathan's in on a different lap on this course now. Muzz. Stephen Murray there, he's got a couple of power outages up in the top left hand corner. I don't know if he's stopped briefly or whether that's just been freewheeling. Gale teaming up with Barry Wilson. FDV. Busy race tonight. I was good to see Robin Druitt back in. Gilbert. I think I'm the last rider on the course. Okay. Back up to the front and see May pushing again on the front. 4.4 kilometers remaining. They've opened a gap up. Svert's closing that down. Through for another lap. 4.1 kilometers remaining. We're only 23 minutes through this race to the fast laps. If this pack holds together like this, I think I'm going to be struggling to call out the names as they're flying over the finish line. The Deegan's pushing on at front there. Groups back up in size. I think some of these, yeah, David Brookhuizen and Lemmy have been lapped. They've been lapped, and Sutherland as well been lapped and have tagged back onto this group. Ben Lowe there, floating about the front. Steve Shrubsall. Pedro May just opened a little bit of a gap there now. Front of this group. May is a rider who in the past I think has not been remembering to do their altering their weight correctly when they've entered the pen. Looking at their what's per kilogram that they're pushing out on this course, I think it may be possible that they've done it again. But Will Usher, who organises these races and runs PRT, he will go through the powers that everyone's putting out and review them at the end of the race and give a revised podium in the Facebook group at the end of the race. So the major trophy to take away from this race is actually the Combativity Award, which is given to a rider who's gone above and beyond to really make ridiculous efforts to bridge a gap or to drag a fellow competitor around the course. So that's the main takeaway from this race. We see Darren Ray up in second position again. 2.2 kilometers remaining. Matt Barker up at the front. I'll have to see now. Steve Shrubsall, Byron, May is off the front by a good distance now. See May there, 40 meters in front with only 1.8 kilometers to go. They're pushing out 4.7 watts per kilogram, 400 watts raw. So I keep on mentioning watts per kilogram. On a flat course like Canary Wharf, it is really the raw watts in the top left hand corner of the screen that matter. Watts per kilogram is a metric that's usually most effective on the hills. It doesn't really work too well for flat races. Weight not being as much of a factor when you're on the flat. May now coming through. 1.2 kilometers left to go. Behind, Pedro has managed to break away from the pack. Vake is moving up towards the front of the pack, as is Ben Lowe, Steve Shrubsall. Big engines. In May now into the last 800 meters of this race. Putting up 5 watts per kilogram, 440 watts. Hey, comes around 600 meters to go. Managed to open up a gap of 63 meters to Pedro behind. Pedro's been caught now by Deegan Bancross and Ray. Darren Ray. 2 corners left. Start seeing them fly over finish line. A final power finished. Bancross on the front there. Bancross over Ben Lowe, Will Usher, Vivek. Pack flying through there. Svert, David Bruckhausen coming through on his last lap. David Bruckhausen in front of Allison. David, 500 meters left to go. Darren Ray came in 10th there, with Steve Shrubsall in 11th, Will Deegan in 12th, Hugit 13th, and Svert 14th. David soloing now, 15th position. Multiple races going on this course now. David under the finish line, 15th. Allison 16th. Sutherland 17th. Lemmy 18th. Gerdebeek in 19th position. Calcius being chased down by Merrow. Merrow absolutely flying, but will he catch him? Calcius just makes it over the line from Merrow. Norse, Jones, and then we're all the way back now to Lazar, 24th position. Only a 30-minute race, fast and frantic. Laser in 24th position. He's got 170 meters over Williamson, pushing for the line. 80 meters left. Out of the saddle, sprinting. Williamson now being chased by Alex. 90 meters. Williamson over the line from Alex. Wittich, Titcombe, Bebricks, Oxuzoglu now. Oxuzoglu is clear of any riders. Ellis being overtaken by Ludlow there. Ludlow comes through to take 31st position from Ellis. Ellis caught sleeping a little bit there. Archard 33rd position, comfortably clear. Next rider on the road, Ursula. And Chan has just picked past Ursula. Ursula sprints. A well-timed sprint from Ursula there to take back 34th position from Chan. You see Jonathan Wales further back on the road. That's well, let's take 36. And then we've got Bartle coming through in 37th. And Sergio Saldana saying a fast race. It was very fast. I think there's a little bit of bad camera work for myself there, Sergio, on the finishers. They should have gone for a far out aerial shot. They just came through so quickly after May came through the line. Bartle comes over in 37th position. A little bit of a battle going on between Ray Rusher and Arunas there. Pennant comes through and Butler. Ray managing to hold off Arunas though. Larry Wilson, 42nd position. He's clear of Piscatelli by 130 meters. Piscatelli now 43rd. A little bit of gapping between the riders now. Those earlier riders were very, very close together. Belly comes over the line. Go back to Tranter. So then 44th. And Newland's coming through now, 46th. Still fantastic times. Coleman. Coleman over the final sprint for the line. Bit of a gap now between the riders. We go back to DV. In 58th position. Over the line. A little over 36 minutes.
TSS score of nearly 78 from a half-an-hour ride. Muzz, watch out for those real bots, Muzz. They're chasing you. Serenity and Amy, the real bots, learning from where the riders come through. Overtake Muzz just before the line. Muzz comes over in 61st position. Gale over in 62nd position again. High TSS score. We're just drafting in on the wheels of Lucy there. Through for 64th position. Gilbert, PRT, 2.3 kilometers remaining. Missing Bev Usher tonight. Oh, bit of a Gilbert. Follow Gilbert round for a full lap. Gilbert now 71st position. Votes are coming in for the combative riders on the socials. Don't know if you've seen anybody that you would vote for. Any of the attacks that you thought were just amazing. Through now into this covered area. Slight dip in the road. We're nearly at the end of the stream for this week. PRT handicap race is one that we cover regularly. We do cover it every Thursday night, 7 o'clock UK time. It's a great race. We've got some more hills coming in on the races in the near future. So if that's more your thing than flat races, please do join in. Great when we have a big group of riders out on the road. Makes the racing more interesting. Cover a number of events on the VCN channel. We also got some interesting interviews that we do with the event organisers and the people from around the world of RGT. try and bring you some up to the minute information on what's happening in the world of RGT through the VCN Facebook page. So if you're not already, if you head over there and follow the page so you can see what's coming up in the future. Through the sprint there. 2 corners left on the race. We're in the PRT kit. Bright yellow and black. Hard to miss. Full Illuminati kit as well. Yellow and black for the bike, yellow and black for the kit, and yellow and black for the helmet. All nicely matching. Come through finish line for the last time tonight. I've been Riley Harvey for VCN, and this has been the PRT handicap race. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage, and hope you've enjoyed the race, and we hope to catch you next time.